What's up? My name's Ty. I am a graphic designer in Arizona, and I had an idea a couple days ago while I was driving home from a photo shoot for my job. Anyways, I had the thought, which is kind of ridiculous, of doing 30 videos in 30 days. And why would I do this? Why would I have such a crazy idea? It's because I have never been consistent with posting content. I always have a hard time thinking of ideas and knowing what to post, and then when I do create something, I think it's terrible, and so I delete it. I have deleted so many videos, and I have had so many, I don't know, I guess you could call them identity crises, whatever the plural form of that is, over me as myself as a content creator. So, in order to kind of get over that, I think I just gotta barrel through. And one way to barrel through is to create 30 videos in 30 days. Now, is this type of a challenge even possible for me? No. I mean, well, I don't want to say no, but maybe not. I do have a very, very busy personal life, and it gets in the way a lot. In a good way, okay? I have, whatever. Anyways, um, so that's one purpose of this. I'm calling it the 30 by 30 challenge. 30 videos in 30 days. And for each of the videos, I'm going to be talking about what I do, which is graphic design. And I specialize in logo design and identity systems. An extension of that is branding. So an easy way to think about it is branding. Branding is like the extra step ahead of identity systems. Anyhow, the 30 by 30 challenge, the reason why I am doing this is for a couple of things. So, like I mentioned, I want to barrel through my, I suppose you could call it, insecurity behind creating content. When by having a deadline of I have to create a video today, it creates a lot of pressure. So, pressure that prevents me from being perfect. So these videos are going to be very imperfect, very rough, and potentially, dare I say, some of them are even going to be bad. But the point is not to create amazing content, it's to create content and to get into a rhythm of coming up with ideas and planning and executing and posting consistently. Because that's always been a big struggle for me, is consistency. So that's kind of point number one, is consistency. Point number two, I guess you could say, is getting over myself, so getting more confident with creating videos. Point number three is it's very similar to point number two. You could say it's the same thing, but it's to improve my speaking ability. And when I hit record, I don't know what it is, but I tense up. I get so tense and nervous and stressed, whatever, that it takes me a long time to think about what to say. So as I'm going through and I'm editing my videos, sometimes there are periods, there's whole sections where I'm just silent. I'll be in the middle of a sentence and I'll stop speaking, and then 10 seconds later I pick it up and I keep going. So it's not like I'm pausing for emphasis to make sure that a point lands. It's that I legitimately don't remember the word, or I'm trying to think of what to say, and so there's gaps of 10 seconds sometimes of me not saying anything. So in order to fix that, I think by doing kind of freestyle videos for 30 days, I'm at least going to get a little bit better. That's kind of my theory here, is the 30 by 30 challenge will make me at least a little bit better at creating content. So that's point number three. I don't remember if there's a point number four. Again, the point of this is, well, I just listed off three of them, but it's to get better at this freestyle speaking thing. I have very unorganized thoughts, and so when it comes out of my mouth, it comes out as a jumbled mess. I actually had this idea while I was in the car the other day that was genius. I was like, wow, I am so smart. And it was a metaphor for how my speaking feels. So if you are a potter, you're trying to create like a sculpture or something out of clay, and clay is really mushy. There's no form to it. It's wet, it's mushy. You squeeze it and it just goes and it squeezes out of your hands. you could say it's pretty formless. And that's kind of my thoughts, my ideas in my head. They exist, but they're just in a lump there. They don't have any form, they don't have any rhyme or reason to them. So when I try to speak, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to craft and shape the ideas in my head into a nice looking sculpture, into something cohesive that makes sense, that's beautiful. But I don't know how to sculpt. I don't know how to work with clay. And so what happens is it just turns into kind of a blobby mush. So it goes from mush in my head to a mush of a sculpture. Compared to a lot of other communicators and people on YouTube that I watch, where they take the ideas in their head, and who knows what it looks like in their head. I mean, mine's a blob, theirs might be a sculpture anyways. But when they speak, it's like a fully sculpted, beautiful portrait of, some ancient Roman king or something. Your typical Roman sculpture. Anyways, that's kind of what I'm hoping to improve on with 30 videos, is being able to take the ideas in my head, form them, and mesh them around into something cohesive and understandable and hopefully valuable to people. Because I'm sitting here, I love design. I do it for work, and I just want to talk about it, and I want to show people, I guess, what I'm doing. Because I hear all the time, you need to be making content. And I've really wanted to make content, but I've never gotten consistent. So this challenge will help me fix all of these things, these errors that I'm seeing within myself, of lack of consistency, lack of confidence, and lack of speaking ability. So we'll see how it turns out. I have some ideas for what I can talk about. I'm going to be talking about design, graphic design, and specifically more through the lens of creating logos and branding and identity systems. And these videos are probably going to be a mess. I'll just be honest, because like I said, the thoughts in my head are just a lump. So I do have an advantage though right now. I know I just listed off a bunch of my flaws. I do think I have an advantage here, which is nobody's going to watch these. And my channel is pretty young. I don't have a whole lot of videos on here. So by getting these crappy videos out of the way, I can get some practice and some experience, so that further down the road, I might suck a little less. And if I suck a little less, then eventually I might actually be good. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to achieve here, is maybe I'll actually get good at making content. I don't know. Maybe I'll be good at explaining myself, explaining what I mean when I speak, that the thoughts in my head can actually come out coherently instead of an incoherent blob. So these videos, I'm hoping to not edit them. Which means they're gonna be very rough. They're gonna be pretty unorganized. I do believe in pre-production. I have found in the videos that I have done, both personally and for work, that the more you put into pre-production, the better production goes, the better recording goes. My problem, which is probably something I'll learn, is I do a lot of pre-production, or I feel like I do, and then as soon as I hit record, it's immediately I can see the inadequacy of my planning. So I might be able to develop better structure around how to plan for a video and how to actually prepare in a way that makes so that I don't have to go back while I'm recording and I don't have to fix my planning, because that's just happened so many times, and it makes a simple video like this take forever to get out there, because I start recording, I realize I'm inadequate, and then I go back and I replan and I start all over again. And another thing you might have noticed that I'm hoping to benefit from with this challenge is learning how to speak. So not just like what to speak, but how to speak, how to use my voice, where to position my voice in my throat. It sounds gross, okay? But I don't position my speaking properly, because you're supposed to speak from your diaphragm. I don't know how to do that. And so I'm describing something and my voice cracks. It's like, yo, I am 26. I am done with this thing, but because I don't speak properly, my voice is cracking. So I don't have the density, you could call it. I don't have the breath behind my voice that it needs to prevent cracks. So it's still cracking. Anyhow, 30 by 30. Is this possible for me? I don't know. But I would like to be consistent with it as much as possible and get 30 videos out in 30 days. Now, I will give myself a little bit of leeway. I'm going to take a day off every weekend. So it's going to be more like 34 days or 35 or something. Like 30 and 35, but like 30 by 30 sounds. It rolls off the tongue a little better. You know what I mean? So 30 by 30 challenge. We're talking about design. We're going to come at you with some... See, I'm already losing words. I want to fix that. I want to close the gap because, like I said, there are times where I have 10-second gaps. Even when there's a 2-second gap or a half a second gap in between my words and I'm just trying to think, it feels so much longer on a video. The dead space is so loud when I'm sitting there trying to think of what to say. So I'm hoping to be able to close that distance down to, less than a second. Within a second, I can... It's good to have pauses, for sure. But it doesn't need to be so long that it just is like, did his mic cut out or something? Like, what is going on? Anyhow, back to the point. I jump around all the time when I'm talking, but back to what I was originally saying, which I don't even remember what it was. Maybe it was something like trying to stay on focus, trying to stay on track. Oh no, I was sharing the video idea that I had. Next video is going to be using motion graphic software for graphic design, which is like, seems a little backwards. Like it's motion design. It's not graphic design. You're mixing your words, bruh. No, I know that, but I have a what I think is a relatively compelling case as to why it makes sense to use motion design programs for graphic design. I don't want to say implementations. It doesn't. I guess just use cases. Using motion design programs for graphic design use cases. There's a time and a place, and there's a way that it makes sense. So we'll shout in the next video. 30 by 30. We will see how consistent I will be. Time will tell. I'll do my best. I know life will get in the way, but that's just how it is sometimes. So, anyways, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. For some reason, if you're still here, you're a G. You're the real one. Holy cow. You have a high pain tolerance. Maybe I'll say that. Anyways, 30 by 30. Peace out.